missed this great country for the period I was in Germany. Going to Germany for me and knowing their impact on development, their impact on social development, on economics, I knew that this would be a good opportunity to expand the opportunities for Kenyan business.
What would you say are the challenges that you would say
The biggest
you
is
faced?
family. The biggest is family. You cannot go to diplomacy and be a half-baked European, half-baked Asian. You have to be a fully baked African. And you carry yourselves like that.
Hello and welcome to Traktion. My name is Pasil Telewa. Today on the show, I sit down with the outgoing Kenyan ambassador to Germany, a guy that spans a wealth of experience of over 40 years serving in the diplomatic circles. This is none other than Ambassador Tom Amolo. We speak about the insights, the highs, the lows, and all the challenges that he's encountered in his career. And I hope you enjoy Ambassador Tom Amolo's story. I like the smile. Karibu Kenya, karibu nyumbani.
Asante sana, nashukuru.
Yeah. How do you find Nairobi, Kenya? Yeah.
I missed this great country for the period I was in Germany. So I was very happy to be back. Since I joined the service in 1983. This is the first time that I feel, okay, I'm settled now, because there is no forward engagement after this. I'm back home. Good.
Just don't say there's no forward engagement,
well,
because you never know.
They probably will be, but for now I'm very happy to be where I am. Thank you.
What is it specifically that excites you to be back?
Well, first the climate. We've got a wonderful weather. Apart from Mafuriko, which I know you're the one who brought.
I love rain.
Apart from the rains, we've got a wonderful climate. And when you come back home, you realize one of the things that distinguishes us is a wonderful climate. Secondly, the flora and fauna. Just being able to enjoy the beauty of, say, where we are in northern Nairobi, and then of course the people. I really enjoy interacting with Kenyans across the spectrum, from Masonko, those who have wealth, to the guys who do border.
Yes.
I enjoy interacting with them. One of the things that strikes you when you're abroad, in the culture of the people, where in some parts of the world, they're not as forthcoming.
Yes.
So for me, sasa niaje in mtani, somebody will tell you right back, viti mzee niaje. You have a conversation completely out of the blue.
Out of nowhere.
In some parts of the world, that doesn't happen. There has to be some formal engagement for you to start a conversation.
Great. I like that you pointed that out, because we have lots of communism, and all of that happening within our society. But again, you've been all over, Is there a continent you haven't been to, Balozi?
Yeah, well, I haven't been to...
except Antarctica.
Well, I haven't been to... I missed this, Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, the island. That's the one place that I never did touch at all.
Yeah.
But the rest of the world, I touched, thank God.
Thank God.
For my career.
Yeah. So let's talk about you just having done your 2 years in Germany, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And then coming back home, in terms of, you're calling it, you're now done with your diplomatic career. How did you find Germany?
It was a wonderful place. You see, first of all, I'm happy that I was given the opportunity to serve my country and the people of Kenya and the appointing authority in Germany. First of all, Germany is the largest economy in Europe, the fourth largest in the world.
In the world, yeah.
And because of historical reasons, it is the first country to recognize our independence in 1963. And I have a very interesting document that speaks to this. Those of you who don't know, one CD means
Yeah.
it's number one.
Oh, I see.
The UK is 22, but it's not for any other reason. And so going to Germany for me and knowing their impact on development, their impact on social development, on economics, I knew that this would be a good opportunity to expand the opportunities for Kenyan business, the opportunities for education, the opportunities for elevating our ability to spread the wealth among the lowest. That is why this philosophy of bottom up is truly a very interesting one, because in Germany they have something called the Mittelstand. The Mittelstand is the small and medium scale businesses
Yes.
that drive the German economy, and they're the majority, about 90%. So if you see the economy of Germany, it's only a small percentage that really are the big behemoths,
Yes.
like Daimler Benz and so on. So it's these small and medium scale companies. We call it Mama Mboga, but really it is people who run their own
Their
show.
own shops.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that is why there's no real unemployment. Of course, now you begin to feel when there is a challenge internationally. So that struck me, and it gives me a sense that maybe we can emulate decent parts of this strategy in Kenya.
Yes.
If you walk the streets of Berlin, for example, you find a shop that does hair, another shop that does bicycles, another shop that sells coffee, all individually owned.
Yeah.
And they generate their wealth through taxes. So everybody contributes a little bit. But equally, they have a very strong social system. Education is free. If you're a woman and you're pregnant,
Yeah.
at childbirth, you're given 67% of your salary for 3 years. Now they pushed it up to 70%. So you're able to take care of your child, okay?
Yes.
Almost as though you're working in an office or whatever.
Yeah. So they give you 70%
of your
but
income.
then you're not turning up to work.
You're not
Yeah,
working.
yeah.
You're taking care of your child.
Yeah.
Because they've realized that if you focus on building the community,
Yeah.
then you'll be in a good
Work
shape.
will be okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the economy is a good place to emulate. Give a quick think. After the Second World War,
Yes.
there was an idea that how do we rebuild? And the ethos of the Germans was let's work hard and rebuild. So they called it Wirtschaftswunder, the working to create a new life. It's a wonderful new place to be in.
Yeah.
And that ethos of working hard, building yourself from the bottom, really enabled the German economy to thrive. Now, if you look at excellence now, everything from optics, you find
Yeah.
small companies that are really excellent in doing very small things.
Yeah.
Something like, say, the optics to look at the moon or to look at a certain area. It's a small company that's built it over decades, and it's run by a family. And they keep this excellence in parts of the country all over. So if you go to northern Germany or southern Germany,
Yeah.
western Germany, you find these little pockets of excellence, and these are the ones that drive the industry. So we could equally emulate that through taxation by enabling those who are good at what they do. You give them an opportunity to expand. And again, education.
Yeah.
If you're not, you don't have to go to university and have 2 PhDs like Persil Telewa here. Ukijisikia hauna uwezo.
Unamaliza tu na high school.
Unasema, I say, wacha niende nikwe mechanic.
Yeah.
Alafu kitambo umalize uko chuo, you're in high school, you go to high school, And then you say, I really want to be a good mechanic. There are ways in which you go offline, learn the skill, and come
Yeah.
back. So by the time you finish high school, you're ready to work in Daimler Benz.
And also, if you don't
Yeah.
like it, you can easily change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the idea is options. And you're not put in a corner kwa vile hakwenda Nairobi University. I'm an alumni of Nairobi University.
No,
So
it's the
forgive me.
University of Nairobi. Balozi, it's the University of
It's
Nairobi.
not Nairobi University.
No.
Oh, it's not Harvard University. It's Nairobi University of Harvard.
University of Nairobi, University of Harvard.
Okay.
Let's talk about the businesses, because you notice, especially in Kenya, and when we talk about Kenya-Germany relations, we can't avoid to speak about small and medium businesses, because like we were having the conversation offshore, we're talking about just how can we empower our small businesses. But then you realize our businesses don't have sustainability. We're talking about this small business that starts, but then within a year, within 2 years, it's gonna be normal, you know, because of our environment, business environment. What is it from your perspective, you could say, has been, you know, working in Germany to make sure they also sustain these businesses? Of course, you mentioned a little bit about tax, but give me a bit more info.
Well, I would say, look, the Kenyans are entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
So, and I've traveled around the world, including the African continent and Asia and Europe. We are entrepreneurial, which means we make things happen where there's hardly anything to happen.
Yeah.
So we have that culture. Now, what needs to happen is to nurture that culture, which in many ways happens on its own. But it's to create systems that support, if you wakati umetereza,
Yeah.
haanguki kabisa. So the Germans have that. There's a safety net. So if your business, because of COVID, collapses,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Unashikiliwa. I saw that in Germany. I went in 21 where the German businesses were struggling to come out of COVID. Wote walishikiliwa, okay? Kwa vile wana uwezo ya kihela.
Yes.
Unaona?
Yeah.
We are still in that place where hatujashikilia. But although even in Kenya at that time, we were being facilitated by government to do certain things.
Yeah.
Okay? So I would say this, that if already we have the entrepreneurial culture, if we are able to expand the opportunities for these small companies to scale up,
Yeah.
ambapo una a small company that does needles or sutures, and then you say, I can ramp up production by 100,000 sutures per week,
Yeah.
but I need a market. Alafu serikali nakushikilia na kuambia iko mahali unaweza enda hivi. In Germany though, they do their own research, wanafuatilia wenyewe. Unaona? So we should have a mix of that.
Yes.
Serikali nakushikilia, nawe pia kama entrepreneur
Unafanya
homework yako. Like now, because of technology,
Yeah.
mtu akana shamba yake avocado, anacheki kwenye, sinasikia mtaani siku hizi kuna wifi.
Yes.
Uko shags mahali unacheki, ala ni aje, tunaweza pata nini, bei ya avocado ni so, tuzie ule jamaa. Or hivi na hivi. So technology can be leveraged to expand opportunities. Ambapo those people called the so-called mama mbogas are able to leverage that technology for their benefit.
Yeah.
So, but I believe very strongly, like now, looking at what is happening at home, you get a pretty good feel that the government has got that corner. It's only because of challenges, my debt, nani, the current situation in the world economy mitigates against this thing thriving and everybody going gangbusters. But we're in the right place.
Yeah. Talk to us about the opportunities, you know, that are out there for Kenyan, you know, citizens.
Number one is education. I was telling you earlier that if we had done it in 1963,
We would be miles away.
We would have, in terms of language, ambapo you go to school, you learn English, German, French, and Kiswahili, let's imagine. At the end of your school career, fourth form, you have a wide array of opportunities in front of you. You can go to Germany to your degree, France, or even Kenya.
Yeah.
Now,
or even Tanzania.
Even Tanzania.
Yeah.
But if you look at now, if you go to Germany now, with a language, the doors are open. If you have
plenty of opportunities.
Incredible. Yeah. Education, health, at any level. And we also have to figure out why the concept of TVET, where you at a certain level, the way we had polytechnics, you have people who you push them in a certain, or they go in a certain direction.
Yes.
With a skill set that would be useful to industry. I'll give you an example. Right now, the most lucrative jobs in Germany is to be a plumber.
Skilled job.
Nakwambia, you can call if something happens plumbing in your home.
Yeah, like your sink had a problem.
Oh, you call in, unalipa. Akifika, unalipa. Akimaliza, unalipa. And they're very, very highly skilled. But they got their skills through my polytechnic, Zauko. But because their numbers are decreasing,
yes,
now they don't know where to get them. So if what we should be doing is to get a curriculum that they're using here,
so that we can
train our guys.
Yeah.
In this, the Rwandese are doing it. They copied, well, I didn't say they copied. The Rwandese are doing it.
Yeah.
You have already the curriculum for certain jobs in German being taught in their country. So ukimaliza hivi, you speak the language,
yeah,
you know the skill, you know how to do the work the way they do it. Job. Second thing is this,
yeah,
innovation and technology. When I was there, the current peers for ICT visited.
Yeah.
And we were told that at that time, 147,000 jobs available for IT. Now,
wow.
And part of it, we said, no, hata tutaki watu wakuje huku. Let's do it remote.
Yes. Oh, I see. Great
Let's do
idea.
it remote.
Yeah.
So these things, ukiona watu wasicheke sana tio, mtu akipiga hivi dola naingia. It is happening.
And does that remote need you to learn German?
No, this is the beauty. So you just need to be technically competent in that area. That is why there's so many opportunities. You see, a computer is a computer.
Yeah.
The skills that you learn from being able to leverage whatever they do, Google Apps, I don't know what they call it.
Yeah,
okay?
All the technical
whatever
skills,
they are.
Yeah.
Ukijua hiyo, umejua hiyo. Okay? So somebody calls you, we want you to do 6 websites, do this, want you to do so-and-so, be the back office for payments of the UN.
Yes.
And unapatiwa your job schedule. Do this and send it back to us. The people who sit in their home, kuna computer, usiku, wana job, mchana wanalala.
They're earning in euros. Yes.
Yeah, it is true. It's happening.
So where do they get these opportunities from?
No, like now in Kenya now, there's so many. I'm told you, in Germany there's 147,000 jobs.
Yeah.
So it's already there. Now, one of the things that was being cooked at the time I was leaving was a bilateral labor agreement, which is still in the works.
Yes.
But I would suggest to all Kenyans who are interested in doing things outside of Kenya, just be very good at what you do, okay? Just be very good. If it's language, chonga kabisa.
Yeah.
If you know to go to Germany, you need to know language.
Yeah.
Chonga kabisa. Don't do your juju alafu nikienda nitaona vile itakuwa. Okay? If you're in IT field, chonga kabisa. Be good at what you are. Okay?
Yes.
Now I'll talk about two other things. One is the Germans realize that in Africa, there's this group of young men and women who are very good at what they do. Doctors, lawyers, technicians of this nature.
Yeah.
So they created a policy, a program called Africa Compt, where they pick the best and the brightest in these areas. They take them to Germany for 2 years, I think. And then out of that, they learn the skills. And if they want, okay, they can stay, expand the opportunities there, or come back home. So I've seen, when I was there, my goodness, I saw a lady who came from Kenya, the top notch in cybersecurity. After she finished her 2 years, makampuni zilikuwa zinapigana wamshikilie. Doctors, so that's one. The other one is because Germany realized that all of us living in diaspora, we've got family at home.
Yes.
Okay? So akasema, why can't we empower these relatives of yours at home?
To join you?
No. Fanya biashara.
Wow.
So what they do,
yes,
they give you seed. They say, okay, you, uko kulemuko, identify your relative in South Mugirango, wherever. Then their own people, they check the business you want to start. One lady was doing something with hair, another was doing something with events. And then they check. So you give a certain amount, say 1,000 euros to Seme.
Yeah.
And the German government gives
The rest.
The rest.
Yeah.
But iko mtu anakufundisha, this is how it's done. And then after you take off, they enable you to scale up. This is a program. Yeah. There's so many small things that they do that really are very attractive. So the diaspora has an impact directly to their families back home. So in the end, mtu asemi, ai, nataka kufika huko.
Yes.
Eh?
Anaona
Mimi niko hapa,
Germany
niko
kwenye
fit.
yuko, yeah.
Niko fit. There's a lady I know right here near Kiambu who's got a nice business now growing. Events. That's what is happening.
Yeah.
So the opportunities are many. And I think more importantly, I'll end it this way. The philosophy of Germany with Kenya is of respect. Okay? The current government in power in Germany deals with its own people with the ethos of respect. So if you respect your people, you try to do many things for them.
Yeah.
Equally, that philosophy transposes with its relationships with other countries abroad, including Africa. So you see, you say, we want to change the way we engage with this continent out of Berlin 1884, when they divided the continent.
Yeah.
So let's deal with them with respect. Let's see if we can create partnerships. So one of the things we're trying to figure out, and that came up during the visit the Chancellor Scholz had here, was to have a strategic partnership agreement between our countries, which would enable us to expand the current span of existing education, health, and so on and so forth. But to put it in a bottle, not in a bottle, to subsume it into an infrastructure, into an umbrella, which would enable it to be driven through strategic outputs, if you know what I mean. So for example, when you say education, there are X number of schools Germany supports, X number of health. So put it in a package and say, what do we really want out of this relation? We want Kenya to be a partner, not only for Germany, but for Europe in the next 20 years. So the pipeline of people we support and educate are going to have certain qualities, okay? Certain language skills, certain culture, Rona. And they should not only be thinking of working in Germany or Europe, but equally in Africa and elsewhere. Shauna. So I believe very strongly that that philosophy of respect is a very healthy one. And it will enable us to have a decent relationship with this country going forward.
When you speak to Kenyans and perhaps many other Anglophone countries, there is the fear of language barrier when it comes to just relating and perhaps switching in terms of academia and finding jobs, because this is a totally different, country with their own language. Tell me from your experience, because you've been there, done that. What do you have to say about that?
Well, look,
Alafu, do you speak any German?
No, well, I speak a little bit,
Yeah.
but not functional. I
Yes.
wouldn't. I could have done it earlier. I actually went when I was in university. I did a bit of language, German, Italian, French.
Yes.
And I had a pretty good grasp of it. But then career went in a different way.
Yes.
And most of my career has been in English-speaking countries, so I had no way of building it. But look, we now have a policy in the Foreign Service that to be posted anywhere, you have to learn the language, you have to know the language of that country.
I think that is a great
Yeah,
policy.
so in the end, there's that policy.
Yeah.
But for me, I find that it's also very easy to learn. You know, English is a Germanic language. And that is why if you put your mind to it, and if you excise the fact that it's difficult, you pretty much get it.
It's
For
all
example,
psychological.
what is Guten Tag? Guten is good. Tag is day, good day. Wie ist Ihr Name? What is your name? Okay? Very simple. And if you look at English, it derived from the strands of these Germanic, from Holland, from Germany. And then the biggest influence came from France and Latin.
Yeah.
So English, as it stands today, is really a hodgepodge of Germanic languages, French, and Latin. Of course, the two are Romanic languages. So it's very easy, in my view. Of course, now I'm an old guy. Nikishika kitabu naweza kwa ngumu sana.
Yeah.
Lakini mimi naona vijana wanaweza chonga hii kitu haraka sana.
Kwani uko na miaka ngapi sasa?
I'm 62.
Oh, great.
I'm a teenager bana. Sasa.
Bado wewe ni teenager.
Ukishapiga.
See, you've seen what has been going on.
Ukishapiga 60 wazee unapiga hebu kaa kando kidogo wakati umefika. Although we can contribute, tunaweza kusaidiana hapa na pale.
Of course, you have so much to bring to the table still.
What we've done, I joined the Foreign Service in 1983. So that's 40 years. What we've done and known, inaweza tumika.
That is a lot of experience.
But you also have to build new things with new ideas. For example, now, big thing is AI. How are we going to jump in? Juzi nimeona rafiki yangu Philip Thigu amepatiwa special envoy kwa hii kazi.
Yes.
It's very important that we get on the cutting edge of technology, innovation, na mambo kama hayo. But I'll say one thing about our diaspora, and it's this, that our diaspora is large, diverse, and very enterprising. And there are different demographics. Whichever country you go to, kuna wale wameenda chuo kama wewe PhD sita.
Haki sasa ni nini na wewe balozi.
Sasa umeenda chuo, shule za wazungu, kwa hivyo lazima upatiwe hizo nini. But the only other thing is this. That kuna spectrum. Kuna wale kama wewe, kuna wale kama mimi. Alafu kuna wale wako kule chini ambapo wana struggle. The trick is to be able to manage this spectrum, because they all have different desires and needs. Wengine wameolewa, wengine wameoa wakawachana, and so on. Alafu wengine wakishapiga 20-30 years huko nje, sasa siwezi rudi home hivi. So wanabaki tu na mashida na nini. Luckily, kuna policies ambazo they are in place inashikilia hawa watu. tunawezesha kutoka kwa hizo shimo, alafu wala kwa pale tunawezesha kupanda juu zaidi. Na sio pia Europe, hata Amerika na kwingineko. So we're in a good place with the diaspora, and nafikiri tukiwashikilia sasa, kuna Ministry of Diaspora itafanya hiyo kazi fiti sana.
Tell me how your journey has been and give me, ulikuwa bado kijana.
Well, I was a young man.
Yeah.
and we want to keep those files properly closed. No, I was a decent young man. I didn't do anything wild. But it was a time of exploring and understanding that the world had changed, was changing. So by the time the Cold War ended in '89, when the Berlin Wall came down, the world had changed from being one dominated by the East-West confrontation to one where suddenly you're looking at an increased multipolar world with countries like India, Brazil coming up, no longer just USA and Russia. Then, of course, even developing countries like Kenya having a bigger say with a growing strength of groups like Group of 77 in China, being able to push agenda that benefited them. The fact that UNEP came to Nairobi is because of the strength of developing countries. Because they said this has to happen. And this brings me to a point where the vitality of Kenyan diplomacy has to rely on the ability to continue making friends with smaller countries like themselves. And it also has to be driven by principles. And the principles are very simple. First of all, we have to be driven by rules. Our diplomacy is rules-based. Why rules-based? Because if we do not follow the rules, a bigger guy with bigger muscle will run over us. So we have to embrace rules and drive these rules in a multilateral setting. So I'm very confident that this rules-based ethos that drives our diplomacy is going to enable us to move into better places. The fact that, even in doing things like campaigning for certain jobs, when we campaigned for the UN Security Council, we cobbled together a coalition of African countries that backed us all the way to success at the UN United Nations. And it's because of being able to talk and agreeing that certain things, certain principles unite us. The principle of self-determination, that I should determine where I want to go as a country, and not be stifled because of my colonial past. Of territorial integrity. Hii ardhi yangu uvikate uingie, ni yangu na tumekubaliana. Unaona? So these principles tukishikilia, alafu tuseme what I do in my country ni shida yangu. Okay? Nitafanya vizuri na wananchi wangu na usiingilie. Tukubaliane hivyo na mimi pia sitaingia huko kwako.
Great. Talk to me about the challenges you've faced throughout your career, because it's not just New York. You've represented the country in South Africa, Nigeria, Germany, and many other areas. What would you say are the challenges that you'd say you faced?
The biggest is family. The biggest is family. And if your spouse has a career, she has to put it under the rugs, or you children, you don't know the changing cultures. You take them to Nigeria, and then you're back in Kenya, and then you're next in
3 years you're going to a different country.
Austria. And then you're there for 2 years, and then you're back again. And then, so eventually that begins to harm family life. So if I was to say the biggest challenge, the biggest casualty of diplomatic life, it is family. uh, divorce. I divorced not because of just jama onekani.
Yeah.
And it's also you're a person, a top-notch journalist in Kenya. Then you don't follow your husband to South Korea. I'm
Why
staying.
did you have to mention South Korea?
Well, it's a good posting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and it's okay, but your husband's career, or if it's the other way,
Yeah.
then you say mtabaki hapa. After 4 years, akirudi, allow you know somebody
It
sees
feels like a
person.
stranger.
Yeah, and even Ivo. So that would be the second thing is resources, because diplomacy now is leveraged out of resources, and because of a thinning or a reducing opportunities to have largesse, and you can't do as much as you used to. So we have to do more with less.
Yes.
And that requires a lot of thinking. How do you do more with less? So I would say that for me, it would be family and availability of resources.
How have you managed to make, your family life balanced?
I haven't been able to balance it. It's a tough job. My kids are in, two kids are in Germany, Kumwetsile and Kitumetse, with their mother. I couldn't pull them out of school.
Yeah.
And because it was abrupt. And they're young, they're 7 years going to 8. So I had to figure that out. So, missing your 8-year-old daughter,
I
your
know.
twins,
Yeah.
unapiga FaceTime, unasema, hala, ni aje. Isitoshe, there's some challenges at home, kihela, because some of the things that were due as a jaiva, kwa vile prevailing economics.
Yeah.
So, and then like now, my eldest son is getting married in the U.S. this month.
Yeah.
Sina chapa.
Come on.
Ni
Wewe unajua
ngumu.
huwezi ambia mtu wewe ni diplomat
La-
ama
la-
wewe ni ex ambassador
No,
na
sina
unasema
ubaya,
una
sina
do.
ubaya. Unajua kwa nini? Ningekuwa vitu vingine vingefanyika.
Yes.
Vitu zile ni zangu that I'm owed, ningeweza kufanya hizo, lakini it's just the reality. So a few of my friends wanajaribu kunishikilia hivyo nasi. So distance,
Yeah.
contact, you cannot have a relation through FaceTime. So you have children in Germany, US, South Africa, and so you have to figure out, mimi Mkenya ndio niko hapa. So the trick is now to enable them to be coming to you. Ntajaribu.
Please jaribu. Ni wangapi officially? I know Kenyan men don't count their kids. Ni wangapi officially?
Let me name them for you. Origa Ogai Mutachi Amolo.
Yeah.
Sango Majisu Amolo. Carl Wamira Amolo.
Yeah.
Camille Adhiambo Amolo. Tepo Itumeleng Amolo.
Huyo Tsepo ako na South Africa.
Maseho Tapelo Amolo. Keitumetse Kutso Abudo Amolo.
Kisha,
Kumwetsile Boitumelo Osure Amolo.
Hao ni wangapi balozi? 8. Okay, how many girls, how many boys?
4.
That is a nice balance. Yeah. How have you managed to be a father to all of these kids?
Very tough.
Because I understand you are all over the place, and also their mother. Yeah.
It's a tough job. I will say that I've not been, I've tried, and in all of these things, eventually I'll be honest here, unanguka kwa Mungu.
Yes.
Because you don't know how to do it. And you think your skills as a diplomat will enable you to navigate a home life. It won't. There have to be a certain spiritual network that holds you up, because you crumble and die. And so I would argue that, first of all, being able to embrace your spirituality. And secondly, if you have friends who are genuine, wanakushikilia.
Let's wrap up
Asante sana.
by you giving upcoming diplomats some advice. You have a whole wealth of experience being in those circles. So give upcoming diplomats, some advice, as well as, your successors.
Well, I'll tell you advice. One, be the best. Study juicy. If it is the politics of the Nile River, if it is the principles that drive self-determination, be the best. And education is continuous, so continue this, number one. Number two, our diplomacy is about communication. And communication is written, so write well. And how do you write well? By reading a lot. Wachana na Netflix na nini. Soma vitabu. Number three, not only reading, writing, but also listening. Diplomacy is about active listening.
Yeah.
Because if you listen actively, you'll be able to understand how to talk to people. Number four, comportment, vile unajibeba.
Yes.
Unaona?
Yeah.
Ukiwa wewe ni mtu biashara ya diplomacy kama hii leo is Africa. So lazima kuwe na diplomacy is European diplomacy.
Presentation.
Ni presentation.
Yeah.
Unavaa suti na tie. Hata usipige shati ya black na tie ya green na nini. Na vile unajibeba.
Yes.
How you carry yourself, comportment. And then, in my view, personally, is that there has to be an affirmative African narrative. You have to carry yourself as an African. If you know where you come from, you know where you're going. You cannot go to diplomacy and be a half-baked European, half-baked Asian. You have to be a fully baked African. And you carry yourselves like that. So don't confuse your culture and your psychology by trying to be European also. Kama umezaliwa unaongea hivi, ongea hivi. Lakini isitoshe, you have to know why you're there you are. Yeah. For example, in Kenya, what is the most important ethos for a Kenyan diplomat? Self-determination. Tulipigania uhuru, tukatoa wabeberu. We are determining our own destiny. If you do not know that, and you don't know that's why we are called an independent country, you never. And if you ukinyekea zaidi kwa diplomasia, kwa vile ni Odiero, kwa hivyo wacha Odiero ikapiga nini, wacha nika hivi.
Yes.
You have to be able to stand up for your country in a way that does not kill relations, but enables it to thrive. But if there are challenges, first of all, to your sovereign, mtu fulani akitukana mdosi wako,
yes,
ngware mara moja, you refuse. Lakini ujue kesho pia una biashara nao. Lazima ukishasema hivyo unapata barabara kurudi pale mweze kutengeza biashara. Shona.
Yes.
Lastly, family. Do not go into this game kama una mpango ya family. Kama una mpango ya family itakuumiza. Kwanza utakuwa you don't have family.
Yes.
The worst thing, ukifika ma 50s, 60s, uko peke yako na kamansho kako na madola zako.
Yeah.
Mbaya sana. Alafu, pia you have to be honest with yourself. Usiruke. Because hiyo kurukaruka pia, it compromises
Your
nation.
professionalism as well. Yeah.
Na nchi yako. Shona.
Sawa, ni sawa.
I want to say that thank you very much, Persil, for agreeing to talk to me. And,
Come on, look
I've
at
got
you.
many people wazee wangu wengi ningependa siku moja tuongea nao. Today this event is being choreographed by a colleague, Ambassador Catherine Mwangi.
Amazing.
Tulikuwa naye kwa hii kazi ya Security Council na sote tumestaafu. Kwa hivyo tuko home, tunasukuma agenda ya watoto wetu na tukiweza tutasaidia nchi yetu iendelee mbele. Na nyinyi vijana mjue kwamba Kenya ni nchi nzuri, na tukishikilia vizuri na to respect one another, na tusifanye maovu, we honest with ourselves, tutapita tuende mbele zaidi. Sindio?
Asante sana balozi. Nitakuacha uende, even though ningependa tuongee na tusiache because una mengi, miaka 40 si mchezo. Yeah.
Mimi ni boy child. Na mwisho najua kitu ambayo lazima tuseme.
Yeah.
Tusipochunga story ya boy child, nchi haiwezi endelea.
Lakini sijuzi mke wa deputy president amekuwa hapo akiongea mambo ya boy child. Alikuja Germany.
By the way,
akiongea story ya boy child na widow
nilikuwa
na nini.
Na ni muhimu sana.
Yeah.
But unajua kwa nini ni muhimu? The last first lady kuongea juu ya boy child.
Yeah.
Do you know who it was? Laura Bush. Laura Bush, the wife of George Bush the second.
So unaona ni kama mmeachiliwa sana.
No, the reality. Unaona vijana siku hizi.
Yeah.
Sina ubaya. Unajua unajitafutia mpaka you realize that wengine hawajiwezi. Not because of anything. Ukiangalia siku hizi hata interview, they give preference akina mama. Imefika, it's no longer anecdotal. The girls, when I was in university, 1982-3 hapo.
Yeah. The University of Nairobi.
Nairobi.
Yeah.
Nairobi University.
Not Nairobi University, the University of Nairobi, yeah.
At that time,
yeah,
of course, there were more of us men. But it started changing. Anecdotally, it's say there are more women graduating. Now, my daughter graduated out of Rihanna 7 years ago. 99% of her law
classmates,
were women. 99%. Hakuna wanaume. Now, you cannot build a society with one arm behind your back. The same way you used to say, you can't build only with men. And we said, we need more women. Now we need men, especially the younger ones. They're just out here floating. Mtaangu uko kwa shags. Ukiana mtaa, the guys you see floating around is young men. Ndio nakupiga ngeta, ndio nafanya maupuzi. So we have to, first of all, change the culture. Mentorship is key. So I've been trying to do that in my own way, even in Germany, in Nigeria, in South Africa, and even the US. Kushikilia the young men, kuambia ni aje. But also, when the young men want internship, attachments, sama angalia kaka mtu, wakiona a nice lady, wengia, piga ya attachment. So the society has to begin thinking that they can only build a proper society if there is equality across the board. I leave with that.
Many thanks for watching the show today, and make sure you join us again next Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Kenyan time only on KTN News. And if you have a story you'd like to share, perhaps inspirational, please don't hesitate. Talk to us through Traktion at standardmedia.co.ke so that we can be able to reach you. You can also give me that follow button to me on my social media platforms at Persil Telewa on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok for more of many other amazing stories. But until then, I hope to catch up with you soon, same time, same place. Bye-bye for now.